call it, are directed disproportionately at Black African immigrants by Black African South Africans. And so I was trying to think, well, why is this and why does this happen? And so my thinking was, well, Black African South Africans rather, have been othered for decades. And so the process of healing from that being othered is still taking place and still sort of shaping itself. But othered people can also other people. There's a saying that says, hurt people hurt people. And sometimes that's what you see in these attacks, or these xenophobic attacks. So I was going to initially speak about that, and then I was going to focus. So the theme was Year of Refugees, Returnees, and Internationally Displaced Persons towards durable solutions to forced displacement in Africa. So my initial thinking was to only focus on the internally displaced persons. How does it feel like to be a refugee in South Africa as a South African? And as an example of this, I was going to point to the Fontaine farm evictions that happened recently in August, where I think about 300 people were evicted from their homes in Fontaine, and the response of the farmer who evicted the South Africans from that land, he says, well, I own the land, I pay taxes, and so I moved the people to the side of the road so that the government can be responsible for them. And then he left them like that. So now these are refugees in South Africa, internally displaced people in South Africa, and they are South Africans. And so what do we do with that kind of situation? And it's not an isolated incident. There are many cases where people are evicted from farms because the racist farmer thinks, well, I don't want these people on my land anymore. So that makes things problematic as to how do we as South Africans treat human rights towards one another when the economic racism is still so rife in South Africa. And then to just also very quickly, something I noticed in Durban is kind of indentured servantry of immigrants or foreigners who come into Durban. So the business owners, particularly of Arab Muslims, seem to have an interesting relationship with immigrants in terms of they employ them and they give them economic business space, but they don't pay rent. And they pay the building owner with service.